you set up the app and configure the jobs using the app setup screen. Let's talk about the 8 enrichment principles and how we can use them to enrich the data. So just a quick review. You have followed the video on Splunk Base, and you basically did the configuration for either on-prem or cloud, and you enabled the required jobs based on this workflow diagram. Video link to that would be in the overview section right here. So in the configuration tab, in the second panel here is there's like a workflow diagram of what we need to do to get the 8 enrichment principles configured. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to continue working on getting this job edited and customized. This job can be found here under App Jobs, and it's the first one in this panel, number 1, Chargeback Custom Identities Gen job. And so what we need to do here, we need to figure out a source of identities that the customer may have, and we need to normalize this source to the app field names. So for example, if the customer has a table such as this one here, we have something called custom username, custom business unit, etc. We need to do, first of all, to get started, we need to build, kind of rename these fields to the app field names, and they're listed here in this job. So we need a username, business unit, division information, department information, their name in the organization, the type of user, service account, employee, contractor, the status active or separated. It's a good thing if they haven't cleaned up these users in Splunk, their title in the organization, email address, their manager name, and their manager username or ID. So this could come in from either a lookup, it could come in from an index, whatever this case may be. We need to gather that information, rename the fields, and then put everything together. And this is going to generate the custom identity data store. That's the first step in this process. So if we go back to the workflow diagram, this explains where we need to start. We need to get this done. We need to map to the app field naming convention, right? So at this stage, we can start dry running and see how we're doing. So if we successfully done that, we'll go back to the app jobs, and we can use the dry run just to see how the new data that we just configured, how is that affecting our enrichment and how we're looking. So if I look at the business unit here, it looks really good, about 99% filled, which is ideally what we're looking for. We're looking for business department and business unit. These are the 2 most important fields. And then from here, we really go back to the configuration. So we're going to use a dry run every time we make a change. Okay, so we start looking at where we stand. Normally, it's going to be very weak because the user is not enough. We need to do we need to use additional enrichment principles to achieve a higher percentage of business unit and department association. And that's why this step 3 here is very helpful. Let me walk you through that. So in this dry run job, there's instructions in here. So say, for example, we still have data that is not enriched. We can use any of these macros, this one here, to append the users to the users table. This would be appending roles, appending apps, appending jobs, or appending hosts to the respective tables. Not all 8 business units are mentioned here, but we can speed up the process by running any of these macros. So for example, if I want to populate the app to business unit very, very quickly with empty business unit information or apps that don't have any classifications yet, I would just simply do that and run a job. And I would normally go last 24 hours or maybe last 7 days for this one. Similar procedure for user, role, job, and host a business unit. When you do that, these macros would populate the respective tables. So if we go back to enrichment tables here, we can either open panel 2 and 3. Here's panel 2. Here's my user to business unit. So this is all the users that we couldn't classify yet. No, maybe they're not part of that data store that we worked on, right? So this is where you need to come in and help the customer, or if you are the customer, just come in here and basically add the additional missing information about the users as you see them in the list. Please do not change any business unit information for this special user called Splunk System User. Always leave it blank, and the admin user, always leave it blank. Everything else you can classify except these. If you're a Splunk Cloud customer, we already pre-classified for you these users, and we assign them to the special Splunk business unit. Okay, so they should see minute amount coming in from these users. There shouldn't be much activities coming in from here, from these users. And the same thing, if we wanted to look at the app to business unit, same thing applies here. So the apps that would be added, they would have business unit, division, department information that is missing. We need to update that. However, this is a little more sophisticated than the user to business unit. Here I have an opportunity to split the app across multiple business units. Okay, so, and that's mentioned, by the way, in the release notes with an example in the overview here. It would be in the release notes. So let me walk you through it. So if we have an app that is split across multiple business units, say for example, let's take for example this one here. Multiple business unit uses this, maybe two, maybe just an example of two. We copy and paste the app name and then split it across the two business units, exactly like you see in here. Let's pretend this is the other business unit. So now this means at stage 4 in the enrichment priority order, just stage 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4. At this stage we still don't know what the usage is, but if we do see an app called Cisco NVM, we're going to take that, split the usage in half across these two different business units. It's a very cool new option. Okay, you can also use wildcards. So anything that begins with Cisco, exactly like that. You can do that if you like. This split by business unit is supported only in two tables: the app to business unit, and then from this panel here is the other 4 methods. Together there are 8 principles. And so the other place where you can do this is the index to business unit, which is most likely what we will have to deal with. Is most likely you have indexes shared across multiple business units. And this is more important for storage, showback, and chargeback use cases. In review, if we go back now to the configuration tab and look at where we're at with the diagram, we used this step here, ran the macro to populate apps or users in the respective table. We opened these tables and adjusted the business unit and department information and saved them. Now we need to go back and run the dry run again to check on the progress. Okay, so now we did this. We added apps to the table. We went ahead and updated the apps with the proper business unit and department classification. Now we rerun the dry run to see how we're doing. At any point of time, you can say, type just this search command at the bottom to find empty business unit. And then what I usually do is I look at hosts, I look at the user. Okay, not much we can do here. I look at the app. I look at all the data that we're going to be mapping with, and then see if there's anything we can do to basically associate these 81 searches. This is not much really at this stage. This customer in this situation is in great shape. I mean, business unit is almost 100%. There's no more work needs to happen. Right, the rest is a minute amount of usage that we don't really care about. Thank you very much, and we will be creating more quick start videos like these to make your life a little easier and to get you going very, very quickly in configuring the app.